Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. When the Hill HX50 first came out, I was extremely excited. I thought this helicopter was going to be a game changer. However, as it stands right now, I am extremely skeptical that this helicopter will come to market. I hope that I'm proved wrong because I think this helicopter could be really cool. But in this video, I am going to lay out why I think this helicopter has basically no chance. Maybe I'll be eating my words in a few years, but in this video, I'm going to lay out all the reasons why I think this helicopter is not going to come to market, in my opinion. Let's get into it. Alright, we are going to break all the points I want to cover into different sections, and I will put the timestamps down below so you can jump to the section that you want. The first one that we'll talk about is how building everything in-house is a pipe dream, the price point is unrealistic, owner built is crazy, the performance claims don't really make sense, and there are red flags all over the business model. And quickly, I just want to add at this point that this is going to be quite harsh and quite critical, and there is a chance I'm wrong on this. There's a decent chance that they actually do prove all of the skeptics wrong, including me, wrong, and if they do that, I'm going to be extremely excited. And I want everyone watching this video to engage with the video. Leave comments down below. If you work at Hill and you want to reach out and have a conversation with me, I'd love to have my claims disproven, and I'd love to talk about the critiques that I'm going to bring up so that we can share this with the public. And these are my opinions as it stands right now in 2025, in April of 2025. Let's get started with how building everything in-house is a pipe dream. Hill says they want to build everything in-house. These are the things that they have talked about. They are going to build their own turbine engine, the GT50 turbine engine. They are going to build their own custom avionics suite. Build obviously the airframe and the fuselage, the main and tail rotor systems, transmission, drivetrain, the landing gear, retractable landing gear. They're also going to do all the interior, the luxury automotive leather, the really nice seats that they've talked about. The first and most obvious point that we need to discuss is the turbine engine. The GT50, they claim that they are going to produce their own turbine engine internally, and this absolutely boggles my mind. It is a crazy, crazy, crazy ambitious thing to try to do. Hill is starting from zero. They have no engine legacy, and they don't have an engine partner. It would be one thing if they were partnering up with another engine manufacturer that knows what they're doing and they're going to kind of work together on something, but they're not. Hill is doing this all by themselves. And it goes without saying, but building an engine is extremely hard, but building an aviation turbine engine is extremely challenging. There are so many complex things that you have to figure out. The engineering that goes into these engines is like astronomical. There is a reason why legacy manufacturers don't build their own engines. If they thought it was financially cost effective to build their own engines, they would, but they don't. Everyone from Robinson, Cabri, Bell, Airbus, Leonardo, all of these large companies, they do not build their own internal engines because it is so labor intensive. Bringing an aircraft engine and a turbine engine to market costs tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in development, R&D, prototypes, testing, bench testing, testing it in aircraft, finding failure points. It is so labor intensive. It is so expensive. And I want to spend the most time emphasizing this point because I think that the body of the helicopter and the fuselage, I can maybe even get behind it, and that would make me less skeptical. But building their own engine is so insane, and the entire program, the entire company, the entire aircraft depends on this engine working. You have everything centered around this one failure point. If you threw an established engine in there, like an Allison, a Rolls-Royce, Pratt & Whitney, anything that is like a known established engine, a turbine engine that has some proven reliability, if you threw that in there, that would boost my confidence so much further. And there's such an immense amount of work that goes into it. It is hard to describe, and it makes me extremely skeptical. And along the exact same lines is building your own avionics in-house is, once again, absolutely insane and really kind of ridiculous. The way that I see this is there are some manufacturers that have their own simple screens. Take the Cabri G2. They have their basic, I forgot what the name of it is, but they have their basic flight instruments. It's all their engine parameters, their power, their fuel, rotor limits. They built that, but it is an extremely simple avionics package. If you look at the avionics that Hill has put out in their press releases and their photos, these are extremely beautiful incredible avionics, and they are claiming that they are going to build all the avionics, all the engine parameters, and their own navigation. It would be one thing if, like Cabri, you built your own engine parameters, but then you were going to use a Garmin product as the backup for the navigation. So you're going to use that as your GPS system, but you're using an established GPS system. It is my understanding that Hill is going to do this all internally, all by themselves, and build all of their avionics into their helicopter themselves. There is a reason no one else does this. The amount of labor and the amount of expertise it takes to build all of these really specific systems, the cost doesn't come down. It would make sense if they brought in a Garmin or an Avidyne or a Genesis product, Aspen, anything as the avionics package, and maybe they built their own indications, but trying to build this all together, no one else does this because it is extremely hard. It takes a lot of time, and we're going to get to the timeline things, but they're claiming they're going to do their own engine and their own avionics, and they are going to have this product to the market by 2027. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. When you're trying to build a software package this fast within the next 2 years to get this to market, and maybe the timeline slips a little bit, but even like 2, 5, 7, 10 years is extremely fast to build an avionics package with a small startup team with not a ton of financial resources behind you. One bug or one power issue or one screen going black could cause a fatality. That could cause people to lose control of their aircraft. It is extremely important that your avionics work. I'm not saying that they're going to have a problem, but rushing the engine, rushing the avionics, rushing to build the whole rest of the helicopter, it doesn't make sense. Why do you have to do it that way? But I want to strongman their argument because I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. They want control over every part of the design. They think that vertical integration will allow them to build faster, better, more efficient aircraft at a lower price, but that means every failure comes to you and you have to solve every problem. If you get an off-the-shelf avionics package, you know it's probably going to work because it's proven in other aircraft, and if you get an off-the-shelf engine, it's proven because it's been proven in other aircraft. If you do this all internally, it is all on you. Startups typically want to outpace legacy brands. That's like their main selling features. Like, we can move faster, we don't have all this bureaucracy, we can outpace what they're doing. But in aviation, speed is a killer. You can't move that fast. That's why things take so long. That's why timelines slip, and maybe their timeline will slip, but they are still claiming that by 2027, they're going to have this product to market. And it appears they want the user experience to feel similar to like Tesla or Apple, really elegant, really easy for the consumer. But in aviation, you just simply cannot move as fast as other regular type of tech startups do. And maybe they are taking their time, but it is highly concerning that they are still talking about 2027. And just to narrow in on the 2027 point, this is absolutely incredible. I just want you to compare it. I'm going to read short sections of these two articles from you. These are from Vertical Magazine. One of them is talking about the H160, which is a very large, big helicopter that there's a lot of hype about, and the other is about the Hill HX50. And I just want you to understand what the claims are and what they're talking about when it comes to production timeline and supply chains and getting material to actually build helicopters. Quote, the company is targeting an ambitious production schedule that will see 450 aircraft completed in the first year, 675 in the second year, and 1,000 in year 3. Production capacity will be adjusted according to demand, said Hill. 450 the first year, 675 in the second year, and 1,000 in year 3. Insane production numbers. Giles Armstrong, head of the H160 program at Airbus, said the company was targeting a production rate of 40 per year and hoped to hit that as soon as we can. He said it hoped to hit the 40 aircraft per year target in 2026. And it clearly is not an apples to apples comparison. The Hill HC50 and the HX50 are clearly targeting a much different market than the Airbus H160. But what I want you to focus on is the production quantity and the production scale. It is highly improbable, in my opinion, that you can produce upwards of 1,000 aircraft a year. If Airbus is struggling with the supply chain and they have hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars behind them, and they have tons of experience and a very large team, if they are trying to get to 40 and 40 is a goal that they are trying to have to push for, how are you going to do 400, 500, 600, 700, all the way up to 1,000 a year? I mean, the scales are just so incredibly different. Moving on to the next point, the price point makes zero sense. So the Hill HX50, if you go on their website right now, the conversion is anywhere from, in American dollars, about $700 $700,000 to $850,000, so less than $1 million. And that is essentially the same price as a Robinson R44 Raven 2, which is right around $700,000. Robinson can drive the price down because their economies of scale are huge. They produce so many aircraft. They have a large manufacturing facility. They have distributors all over the world, so they can drive the price down. And the way that I see Robinson in the market is that they are the lower cost of entry, and the R44 Raven 2 at $700,000 is like their entry-level medium helicopter. And we're talking about a two-bladed piston helicopter from one of the largest aircraft manufacturers who has the economies of scale, and they're at $700,000. And the Hill HX50 is a brand new aircraft with 3 blades, a Fenestron tail rotor, brand new avionics, brand new engine, and they are equivalent price ranges. I just don't understand how they could possibly make that work. If you compare it to similar aircraft with a turbine engine, you have the R66 and the Bell 505, and these cost over $1 million. These are both two-bladed helicopters, and these are both like kind of entry-level helicopters. The R66 is obviously Robinson's highest, well, not anymore, but like essentially their highest helicopter that they have on the market right now. The Bell 505 is Bell's like kind of lowest end helicopter, but these are both $1 million helicopters. They are proven platforms from large manufacturers, and those are both $1 million, around $1 million. Hill is claiming a 3-bladed Fenestron rotor with a brand new engine for $300,000 less. I mean, even $100,000 less, or even matching it, is crazy. And there's a reason they're expensive. Turbine engines require so much certification. Avionics packages require so much certification. The rotor system, the whole fuselage, maintenance, everything requires so much time and certification. There's a reason why they cost $1 million, and those are from like very large manufacturers. I'm trying to make it clear how insane that this really does sound. And just while we're here, I want to compare it just for reference to other helicopters. So like the Cabri G2 is a great example because that's kind of a startup company, new helicopter coming on the scene, trying to disrupt. The Cabri G2, 3-bladed Fenestron, very similar. That is a piston engine helicopter, and that is coming in at $400,000. They did something new with the design of the body, the rotor system. They put a Fenestron on it, but they stuck with the same engine. They stuck with a Lycoming engine, which is a known commodity, and then they stuck with a Garmin avionics package. They built their own flight instrument indications, but they also have backup steam gauges. Their basic flight parameter indication is a very simple screen, very simple. Hill is claiming to do a turbine engine and a full avionics package and very high-end leather, retractable landing gear, just a beautiful helicopter for $300,000 more than the Cabri G2 at $400,000. Like, how? The numbers don't make sense. Having these be owner-built is crazy in my opinion. So like I said at the start of the video, there are 2 models. My understanding is there's the HX50, which is going to be partially owner built, then there's the HC50, which is going to be a certified version. For the HX50, it is the cheaper option, but the owner is going to participate in the building, and they are going to build technically 51% of the helicopter. So I'm not exactly sure if this is going to qualify as amateur or experimental, but this is not going to be a certified aircraft under like the regular certification. It is going to be either experimental, amateur, kind of something in that category. And that is fine, and I can get behind that for certain aircraft. Small helicopters, I can kind of get behind that. Kit planes, an airplane, it makes sense. I mean, you can put an airplane together pretty quickly. You only have an engine connected to a propeller, some lines going to your lifting surfaces, but for a helicopter, you're talking about a completely different thing. Turbine engine, connected to multiple gearboxes, connected to multiple rotor systems, all the fuel systems. It is not simple to put a helicopter together. Maybe if you're thinking about like a small Mosquito helicopter and you want to take that risk, okay, sure, I can get behind it. Or even like some small rotorway helicopters, I can get behind that too. But for a large turbine helicopter to be owner built is insane. So allegedly the way this is going to work is if you are doing the owner built program, you are going to go to Hill's factory and you are going to do 2 weeks of training where you're going to be taught how to assemble this helicopter. 2 weeks of training? Are you saying like anyone can just come do this? Like you don't even have to have your pilot's license? Not that a pilot's license really helps, but like let's say that you just like work a day job and you're able to get 2 weeks off. You're going to be able to come to the factory and put together your Hill helicopter, your turbine helicopter with 3 blades of defenestron, all these avionics, you're going to be able to put your helicopter together? What? How can anyone with no mechanical background safely put together a helicopter of this complexity? The other problems with this is if you do this option, you cannot use your helicopter for commercial use, so you'll never be able to make money with your helicopter because it's going to be either amateur or experimental. This is also going to cause limited resale value if you buy one of these and put it together because it's fun, and then at some point you don't want to do it anymore. You're going to have to try to sell this experimental or amateur category helicopter, and that's going to limit who wants to buy this helicopter. If the company is doing well, maybe they hold their value. If the company falls apart or if they don't, then how much value have you really invested? And that I also imagine that this is going to be kind of tough for insurance. And this is my opinion, but I think insurance companies are going to be like kind of sketched out. If I was an insurance company, I would be kind of sketched out because you're telling me that this guy with no mechanical experience went to a factory for 2 weeks, put his turbine engine helicopter together, and now he wants to go fly it. That seems like a huge insurance risk, and I feel like it might be hard to get insurance on that. That is just a huge red flag in my eyes for a helicopter that is trying to shake up the market. And I understand that Hill is trying to disrupt the helicopter market, and it is extremely hard to get into the helicopter market. But once again, there is a reason why operators don't do this. There's a reason Robinson doesn't bring you to the factory and allow you to put your helicopter together. That is insanely, wildly dangerous. There's a reason why you can't just go put your Bell 206 together or your 505 together, or you can't go put an EC 130 or a 135 together. There is so much complexity that goes into it. One bolt could cause a helicopter to fall apart. Any piece in aviation, but any piece in your helicopter could cause your helicopter to have a major catastrophic failure. Big, large manufacturers don't want the liability of saying, hey, yeah, go put our helicopter together. Our helicopter with our name on it, you can go put it together. No, because you're going to have some knucklehead that doesn't know what he's doing, put the wrong bolt in somewhere, and your whole helicopter is going to fall apart, and then people are going to have the reputation, oh, Hill helicopters are not safe because some knucklehead put it together. That's why large manufacturers say, no, I will put the helicopter together and I will certify the helicopter and then I will sell it to you. Once it's sold to you, that's on you. And they have complete oversight of the production process. They take on the liability. If they mess something up, they own up to it and they'll deal with it. They are not going to trust their name out in the world with these helicopters. It is really interesting that Hill is willing to trust people to put these helicopters together, because I really believe you're going to have some knucklehead that doesn't know what he's doing, and if they put the wrong, even if the helicopter is perfect, if they put the helicopter together wrong and people start dying in these helicopters, why would Hill want the association that the helicopters are safe if they're falling apart? And this could be a whole video on itself. I won't go that deeply into it, but some of the performance claims don't make sense. So on a couple of areas on their website, especially under the frequently asked questions, they claim that the aircraft can cruise at 140 knots or a minimum of 140 knots. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but on a 500 shaft horsepower turbine engine, 140 knot cruise speed just strikes me as fast. I have flown the 407, I currently fly the 119, and 140 knot continuous cruise is pretty fast, and on a 500 shaft horsepower engine, that just strikes me as interesting. If you fly a helicopter at all, let me know down in the comments below. What do you think about 140 knot cruise speed? That just seems extremely fast on a 500 shaft horsepower engine. For example, the Bell 505, it is a different rotor system, but that is a 505 shaft horsepower engine, and that cruises at 125 knots. So they're able to get some really incredible performance, which kind of strikes me as interesting. They also claim a range of 700 nautical miles and 5 hours of endurance. 700 nautical miles is extremely far. 700 nautical miles, even if you're solo, strikes me as extremely ambitious, and if they are able to do that, that's a game changer. I've never once, a 407, a 119, even in a Sikorsky, I don't think you can do 700 nautical miles. Even in a Sikorsky S76, 700 nautical miles is absurd. That is really, really far, even by yourself. And also 500 shaft horsepower is a good amount of power, but if you have 5 passengers, luggage, you have retractable landing gear, you have this really cool helicopter, even if it's composite, that's a lot of stuff to throw into a helicopter, including fuel, and take off with a 500 shaft horsepower engine. It's just not a ton of power. I mean, you look at like the 505 or the R66, like kind of, I mean, the 505, similar lifting, similar engine shaft horsepower. That is a lot to throw into a helicopter, like 5 people and fuel, and then still have like really good endurance. Color me skeptical. And to wrap up here, I just want to cover some obvious red flags in my opinion. I think these are like pretty clear red flags that I didn't initially see, but now that I've been really waiting for and looking into the project, these are some red flags that I see. The biggest one is if you decide that you want to buy one of these helicopters, this is a non-refundable deposit. Obviously, if you're taking on this risk, you understand that this is a risk, but this really rubs me the wrong way and strikes me as like very sketchy. If you are confident in your product and you think you're going to bring it to market, you would be willing to refund it. I understand that that's hard because like if panic sets in and people start requesting their refunds back, then you're going to have to give them their money back. But yeah, that's how you run a company. I think it is extremely odd to request tens of thousands of dollars for a deposit and make it non-refundable. Strikes me as not confident in the product and sketchy at minimum. Still to this date, there is no demo. We haven't seen the engine run. Now, I think they claim that this is going to happen in June of this year. I'm really excited to see how that goes. If they are able to do that, maybe that boosts my confidence a little bit. They are still on their website claiming 2027 for deliveries of this helicopter, and no way. It'll be funny to come back and watch this video if I am wrong, but I think there's absolutely no way that they are delivering this helicopter in 2027. No, and one of the many elephants in the room, but certification. Certifying an aircraft is extremely hard, but once it is certified, the FAA and the EASA are putting their stamp of approval that they have gone through the process and that this is, as far as they can determine, a safe aircraft. If you were choosing not to do that, maybe you can just claim that it's to save money, but I think that is really sketchy. If you want to get into a helicopter because you like flying helicopters, you can go find used helicopters. If you can go find Robinson helicopters used on the market. Okay, you don't want a Robinson, you want something else? You can go get a Bell helicopter, you can go get an EC-130, you can go get yourself into you can get a used 407, you can go get yourself into a nice aircraft at similar price ranges, I mean maybe a little bit more, but to claim all of this for a brand new helicopter and then not even have a certified product strikes me as extremely sketchy at best. Again, like sketchy and weird at best. I'm trying to be kind with my words because I know there's people that work for this company, but the way that these red flags are hitting me, I can't say anything but sketchy. And finally, I don't think this business model is built to last. I briefly touch on this, but it is extremely true. Owner-built aircraft are very hard to resell. Not only is it hard for insurance because it's just like, wait, what type of aircraft you want to buy? Someone built it? Banks are also going to be kind of sketched out from that. You think they're going to want to finance that? I think that's going to cause the value of these things to plummet. Let's say you buy one for just under $1 million. How much value is that really going to hold? And let's say you actually put a deposit down. Well, now your deposit is unrefundable. You can't get that money back. And let's say you at some point do get the helicopter and you try to sell it. Insurance is going to be hard. Finding a bank that's going to finance it for the next buyer is going to be hard. How much are they actually going to be worth? It's going to be really hard to get out of this if you get into it. Also, how are you going to get parts? I mean, the largest manufacturers struggle with parts. Robinson, Bell, Airbus, Leonardo, all of these companies, it is hard to get parts, and those are big companies that have large economies of scale, that have big supply chains. It is hard to get parts from these, and people are waiting on parts. How are you as a small startup company going to be able to provide the parts for these helicopters that you're producing? I think even if they're able to bring it to market and they're safe, finding parts is going to be really hard because we know that the legacy manufacturers right now struggle to get parts. How are you going to be able to do it? And all of the risk falls on the early customers and the people that have deposits in there. I really hope that for the sake of the people that have investments, if you're one of them, I really hope that Hill can bring this helicopter to market, because if this is true, and hopefully I'm understanding this correctly, maybe I'm not, leave me comments down below if I'm saying something that is not exactly right, but I really hope that if you put a deposit in, that Hill can actually bring this helicopter to market, because if not, you might have wasted tens of thousands of dollars. To wrap this video up, I am extremely skeptical. I could have gone way deeper into certain aspects, and maybe I will continue to go deeper in this. I'm trying to be as constructive as possible because there are real people at this company, and there is a lot of hard work and talent, and I don't discount that. I don't discount the hard work and talent, because there is. Even the design of the helicopter is absolutely beautiful. It is a beautiful looking helicopter. There are some really hardworking people that have put a lot of time and effort into this. Maybe I am wrong. I could be the one that's wrong. I could be reading the situation wrong. I could be missing something. If I am, please let me know in the comments below. Please tell me your thoughts. If you work at Hill, Jason Hill, if you want to come on and have the conversation with me, I'd love to have the conversation with you. I'd love to talk about this. This is such a exciting project, but the way that I see it right now is like, I don't see this happening. Please, I mean, if anyone knows more about this project, let me know in the comments below. It's just a very interesting. I want to believe in it. There's some really good people behind this project, but I am extremely hesitant with the way I see it right now. So with all that being said, all of the resources will be down below. Please fact check me. I'm willing to have conversations. I could be wrong about all of this. I want to talk about this. I really hope this project comes to light. All of the resources where I found all my information will be down below. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.